You're watching the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Salah to settle it!
Yes, good evening and welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand. Liverpool versus Wolverhampton Wanderers for the fourth time, Matty, this season. It's unbelievable, fella. Happy that you're back on the channel. This must be your fifth, sixth, seventh appearance on the Kop TV now. It's more than some Liverpool fans.
Might part of the furniture now. I
Basically.
probably know more about your club than some of your fans, just from being on here.
Probably. But listen, great to have you on. As always, make sure, guys, that you smash that like button. You smash the comments with your team predictions, your score predictions as well. And obviously, we're this close, guys, to 30,000. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And then go and follow Matt Cooper as well. He's doing big things on Talking Wolves, the only channel really when it comes to Wolverhampton Wanderers. So thanks for coming on, as always, mate. I mean, bro, 4 times we've played you this season. This is the 4th and final time. Thank goodness for that. Obviously, we played you at the last day of the season last year as well. So I feel like this tie of Liverpool, Wolves, Wolves, Liverpool has been played a lot. But how's it going to be different this time?
I'm sick of it. I'm honestly sick of it. Because we've played each other in the cups like fairly recently before as well.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. It feels like we're playing Liverpool every 4 weeks. And I mean, usually that's a bad sign or a bad thing. But, you know, with the result at Molineux a few weeks, well, 4 or 5 weeks ago now, like, it does fill you with a little bit more confidence than it would usually. Because I thought you turned a corner, but I don't know whether it was a bit of a false dawn for you, but it's going to be a really difficult game for us.
Yeah, and I guess you could also chuck in the really positive performance you had at Anfield in the Cup as well, where, and again, I'll say it, you were robbed, basically, weren't you?
Yeah.
Like, you were robbed, mate.
Yeah.
So listen, the replay was the replay. We came through that one, but the 3-0 away really scares me and worries me because, I mean, it was total domination in that game. I was doing the Saturday football show on DR, and it was just goal after goal. Every time you attacked, you were going to score. Nothing up front for us. But listen, I was just about to say it's a different Liverpool, but is it? Because obviously we thought we had a bit of a resurgence and then got humbled fairly nicely by Real Madrid. And then at the weekend, couldn't score a goal. Got the clean sheet, but Wednesday night at Anfield, 8 o'clock, you know, it should feel like a Champions League night. Whether the fans get up for it is another occasion, another question. But what are your predictions going into this game? How do Wolves line up? And are you impressed with the new guys that have come in, like Pablo Sarabia, who I saw score for Spain at the World Cup? He has scored at the weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing him as well.
Yeah, I think the players that they've brought in January have been astute, good experience, Premier League experience, and the likes of Lamina and Dawson, who have both been fantastic. I know Lamina got sent off at Southampton for running aggressively, as the PGMOL put it. But they've been really good. Sarabia has been quiet. I think he got his goal at the weekend, but he's found it hard to settle in. And I think some fans are already getting on his back, but you can tell he's a very intelligent player. I think the problem is he's not as explosive as other players that we've got, but he's always on to receive a pass, which is when you're fighting for the lives down the bottom. It's a real plus point. But yeah, the signings have been really good. We still don't know the strongest 11. I don't think Lopetegui knows his strongest 11, and I definitely feel a lot more confident with him at the helm because he's a very good manager.
Top manager.
Probably too good for where Wolves are, but that's Judge Mendes doing us a favour. Again, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose with Mendes, which I'm sure we'll see in the summer with Neves and Nunes. But we've been lining up in a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2, a 4-2-3. It's mad. Like we don't know. Cunha has been a little bit disappointing. He tries hard, he's tenacious, but I think the club identified him as an out-and-out number 9, which I think if you ask most of the fan base, I'd say he's a wide player or can play off your archetypal number 9, not necessarily the main focal point, but looks like he'll be missing the game because he picked up an injury on Friday, a bad tackle really. But I think he'll go 4-3-3, but that midfield of Neves, Nunes, and Lamina is very well balanced now. And I think Lamina allows Neves to play a bit more. And I've liked Lamina for years. In terms of character, can be a bit of a knobhead by all accounts, but I think you want a bit of that. I think you want a bit of that in your midfield. But Ian allows those others to play. But I'm sure we'll come on to Nunes in a bit. You'll ask about him because the rumours, every time we play Liverpool, the rumour gets resurfaced again. So no doubt we'll have that again before Wednesday.
Well, obviously we were in for him. I think you guys bought him for 44 mil. And then I heard something that said Liverpool were in for him for 50 mil in the summer, which business-wise, from our point of view, why didn't you just buy him for cheaper in the summer? Because although he is clearly a talented player, I wouldn't say he's pulled up trees. Like, he's done well for Wolves. But, I mean, you can tell me better. Has he shown you that he's probably ready for a move so soon? Which almost, how does that really work financially?
I think when we did sign him, we were kind of thinking, "Oh my word! Like how have we managed to do this?" Because at Sporting, he was excellent. Pep Guardiola dubbed him as one of the best midfielders in the world, and that's what we thought we were signing. I don't think it helped when he first came to Wolves that Bruno Lage got sacked and Steve Davies coming temporary charge as under 23s coach and played him as a number 10, which. He's just not that player at all. He's a number 8. He's extremely dynamic. Goes past players in the middle of the park like a winger. And obviously, when you're playing as number 10, your body positions, you've got to be able to receive the ball on the half turn. You've got to be a bit cuter. You haven't got much of the pitch in front of you. But with that in mind, if we judge him on what we've seen of him so far, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. I was one of the fans who was flying the flag for him, saying if we get this guy, it's going to change the game for us. And he's had probably 3 or 4 games where he's like played teams off the park, and the rest have been really underwhelming. He can't pass win, mate. He cannot pass a football. I don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is. He picks the ball up, he drives, he goes past players for fun. It's ridiculous. And he can turn, very, very athletic, but he cannot pass a football. And the amount of times where he'll pick a ball up, he'll shimmy past the player, and you can just clip a ball out wide and it goes into row M. It's happened so many times. Don't get me wrong, he's obviously going to be a really good player, but he's still very raw, and he still needs to refine his game a lot more. And he would still need to refine his game to come and play for Liverpool, if you ask me. I know as things stand, you've got a bit of a midfield crisis. But if he moves to Liverpool, then that, it's probably, a gentleman's agreement from him, like, I'll come and play for Wolves, and, you can facilitate a move to a bigger club, which, we understand our position in the food chain. That's the way it is, unfortunately. But as things stand, from what I understand, there's nothing agreed between Wolves and Liverpool, or Nunes and Mendes, as things stand. Not to say that there couldn't be in the future, but as things stand, there's no fee agreed. So, but you never know in Mendes, as I said previously, you can win and you can lose. There's no way that Nunes comes to Wolves without Mendes, but then are we going to lose him for £5 million profit? Who knows? But watching him from this season, mate, he's not good enough to play for Liverpool.
Okay. Well, you mentioned Lamina, you mentioned Neves in the midfield, very balanced, as you say. That actually scares me, that midfield, because of how easy it was for you guys to run through us when we played you very recently. But Neves is the one for me. If we're going to buy anyone from Wolves, I mean, you were at the Anfield game last day of the season. He scored in the game. He was almost waving goodbye to the Wolves fans. And I remember you saying, like, that's him gone.
Crying my eyes out.
Crying your eyes out. There you go. Like, that's him gone. And I was thinking, well, if he wants to come here, he's more than welcome. But his loyalty to Wolves is incredible. And I have to respect it, because you shouldn't be criticised for being loyal. I don't think that's... I know people have said that about Stevie G in the past. He was too loyal to Liverpool. I mean, at the time, everyone wants you to stay, so you can't be criticised for it in hindsight, for me. But, I mean, I'm sure a lot of other Liverpool fans watching this, and let us know in the comments if you agree. If we were to get anyone from that midfield, for me, it's Neves. The experience, he's still young. Technically on the ball, he's a fighter as well.
For me, he would come in and replace Fabinho. I think
100%.
I mean, Fabinho this season's been poor, hasn't he? Really,
Pants.
From his, he's probably a victim of his own success, because for years he was fantastic. But Neves is just a Rolls Royce of a footballer. I still can't believe we've got him now, and everything was agreed for him to go to Barcelona in the summer,
Yeah.
and that fell through. But I think it's testament to his professionalism, really, that he didn't kick up a fuss. He's got on with it. He loves the city. He's raised his 3 kids here with his wife, and he's even got a bit of a yam yam accent as well, a little black country accent that he's developed in certain ways. It's so cute. But there's rumours that he's going to sign it because he's out of contract next summer, so he's got a year and a half left. There's rumours he's going to sign a 2-year extension with a respectable release clause. So I don't think he wants to leave under a cloud, which he wouldn't. No Wolves fan would begrudge him for leaving, but he's the one player in our team who week in, week out, 8 or 9 out of 10, just does everything right.
Mate, unbelievable player.
He's not very quick, but he doesn't need it. He's got everything. He's got everything it needs to be. As Gary Neville said Friday night, he could go and play in any midfield in the world and look comfortable. He's just that good.
That's the compliment there. I mean, would love him. And when you look at Wolves' squad on paper, the attacking options, you've got Neto, Podence, Costa, Hwang,
Traore.
You've got Traore, you've got Cunha, you've got the big lad who got injured on the first day of the season. Yeah. So on paper, and then you've got obviously the midfield that we just mentioned behind them. On paper, that should be doing way better, or it should be producing more goals that reflect a better table in the position than that you're currently in. Because, I mean, you can tell me again, I feel like Wolves have played better than where their table position suggests. Is that fair?
I think, yeah.
Or have better players that all shouldn't even be there, basically.
Oh, but I mean, that's probably a true reflection that you look at the squad on paper, and unfortunately, leagues aren't decided on paper. But
I wish they were.
The squad is way too good to be in the position they're in. But it's players have just got too comfortable at the club under Bruno Lage. I think players were training twice a week. You'd have players that they finish on a Saturday, and by Sunday they'd be abroad. That, bearing in mind, I've got a game next Saturday and they'll be back in Thursday. It was like a holiday camp for them, and they were so unfit. You'd see them break, and they'd be like me and you, mate. They're blowing out their asses. but probably more so than me. But they're a lot fitter now, and you know that attack on paper is potent. But been so many players underperforming. Obviously, Diego Costa's come back and he's just a bit of a pantomime villain. Puts himself about for 45 minutes, goes through the back of someone, fans sing Diego, and that's about it. Jimenez is nowhere near the player that he once was, and it's quite a difficult watch at times. I always say the likeliness is, you know, when you start to see like your grandparents get a bit older and you start to notice it. Yeah. That's how you feel with Raul Jimenez. Like, no. And they start to deteriorate a bit. That's what it's like. And he gets a lot of stick from fans, and the way he handles
as he should. Let's have it right. I mean, one of my most hated players in Premier League history for me.
Why?
Absolutely bottled it when Hendo came face to face at Anfield. I think you remember the meme.
He can't be hated.
Stares him down. No, listen, I just think he's a shithouse. But again, we've had Luis Suarez. I realise how other teams hate that kind of player. But when he's a shithouse, he's your shithouse and you protect him. But yeah, crazy man he is, isn't he? But hopefully he doesn't find his goal scoring form on Wednesday night. That would be typical Liverpool.
I'll tell you who's been Dawson's come in and done really well. But Bueno, the left back, come through our academy. Initially signed as almost like a number 10. So that's why going forward, he's got great delivery, great footwork, and Semedo, we overpaid for him years ago and has been pretty crap, like on the whole. But since Lopetegui's come in, he's done really well. But Bueno's been excellent. I'll be surprised if some bigger clubs aren't looking at him in a couple of years. I think he's like 20, 21. But again, coming from the academy, where he's doing well there. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see. He's been a bit of a shining light this season for what's been a really bleak season, and we're by no means out of it at all. We're still amongst it in that relegation scrap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into a couple of stats. Since his Premier League debut on the 22nd of January, Pablo Sarabia has created more chances with 7 and had more shots on target with 3 and has played more passes into the box with 29 than any other Wolves player. He's netted his first goal for the club in their 1-1 draw with Fulham. Craig Dawson on his club debut and Ruben Neves scored for Wolves in their victory over Liverpool in the reverse fixture. The last Wolves player to score home and away league goals against the Reds, 1973. Any idea?
Not a clue.
John Richards.
John Richards.
Liverpool are the only side yet to concede a goal from outside the box in the Premier League this season. Last season, the Reds conceded a league-high 27% of their goals from long distance. Didn't know that one. And also, Liverpool have kept 3, and this is good. I mean, for once, this is good news. Liverpool have kept 3 consecutive Premier League clean sheets for the first time this season. Last keeping more consecutively between February and April 2022. The Reds have faced just 5 shots on target in these 3 matches, 4 of which were against Newcastle. So the stats are there. I mean, not that they mean much, but going into this one, Liverpool defensively have looked a lot sounder in the last 3 games in the Prem, minus the horror show at Anfield the other night. What's your score prediction going into this one, and how important are these 3 points for Wolves here?
I feel like the massive for both clubs. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually got something from the game. I don't think we will, but I don't think it's going to be a drubbing. Mate, I think it'll be a close game. Maybe 1-0, 2-1 Liverpool. I think with Van Dijk back, it just gives you that bit more solidity. And watching the game at Molineux, the Liverpool game, I couldn't believe the mistakes that Matip and Gomez were making. It was like we were quids in. We don't score goals, mate. We do not score goals. To put 3 past you at ease, I couldn't believe it, and that gave us a bit of a confidence boost because you've not had a great season, but it's still a Liverpool. I couldn't believe it, mate.
No, listen, it was a horror show, and I think you've still scored the least goals in the league.
No, I think we're second now. Thanks.
Okay, well, Chelsea must be up there as well, by the way.
Yeah, Chelsea, I think third. I think
I heard a stat today. Since November the 6th, they've scored 6 goals, which that's before the World Cup as well. Unbelievably shite they are at the minute. But yeah, good score prediction. I mean, I agree with you. It's not going to be a 3 or 4 or 5 at all. I mean, I hope it bloody is. But I'm going to go with... Do you know what? I'm expecting Wolves to score, even though it kind of goes against the stats that I just read out. But I am expecting Wolves to score. So I'm going to go... I think, listen, if you offered me a 3-1 right now, I'd absolutely snap your hand off. Even a 2-1, even a 1-0. I'd snap it off
someone's arse, mate.
Listen... Yeah, I mean, you're right, because if this week doesn't go well, and bear in mind it's 2 home games, it's Wolves on the Wednesday and United at home on the Sunday. If this week doesn't go well, top 4's out the window, and that's
that one at United's massive, isn't it? Because it's
mate,
that's a good chance to instill a bit of faith as well, isn't it? Beat United,
yeah. But like I said, if this week doesn't go well, top 4 is gone. I'll just give you a quick team prediction that I think he's going to go with. I think Alisson goes in goal. Trent obviously comes in. Really disappointed to see Calvin Ramsey injured for so long, because he's only played 93 minutes of football for Liverpool this season. But the minutes that I did see him play, he was brilliant. So it's disappointing to not have anyone kind of breathing up behind Trent saying, if you make one mistake, I'm in the team. So Trent in that way gets away with it a little bit. But I mean, I'd love to see Konate back. He was back in training last week. I think that is obviously our number one partnership. Van Dijk and Konate rarely makes mistakes. I think he had one bad game, Brentford away. But apart from that, can't really name you a poor game that Konate's had for Liverpool. And then obviously Robertson plays. Hasn't really been many opportunities for Tsimikas to play at the minute, which, I mean, if it's a toss of the coin between them two, at left back. I really like Tsimikas as well. I think Robertson fairly edges it. But in the midfield, I think you have to go with Bajcetic. Naby Keita cannot play for Liverpool, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of starting games for Liverpool now, because we're selling him for nothing in the summer. So why are we pinning our hopes on him to lead us to top 4? It's the same in his last season at Leipzig, So we bought him in 2017, and then he came to the club in 2018. Apparently, he was pants in that last season because his head was elsewhere. He knows doesn't want to get injured and ruin a move for himself. So he just can't be anywhere near that midfield, as far as I'm concerned. I think Hendo plays. Would love to see Thiago back a bit sooner than later. And Fabinho, if I'm honest, doesn't deserve to start at the minute. He's a walking red card whenever this man comes on. Lucky not to get sent off again at Palace away the other night. So, but again, who else is there? Because you can't really rely on Milner to to win these kind of games.
Lad, is it Bajcetic?
Bajcetic, yeah, he'll start. He's brilliant. I really like it.
He's been really good.
But if Klopp's looking at your midfield, which, as we've already said, is super balanced and it's got legs and it's got technical ability, the battle of midfield is so key on Wednesday. And I'm trying to think of a third I mean, this is when you know Liverpool need to go big in the summer and bring some midfielders in. I mean, if Neves fancies a little word at full time, bring it on. But it's bad when you're struggling to name a third midfielder. So I'll go with Bajcetic, Hendo, and just Fabinho, because I can't see him starting Milner. If he starts Keita, there'll be riots again. And then up front, it's Gakpo, Nunes coming back from that shoulder injury, and then Salah. So again, that's the Liverpool lineup. Let us know in the comments if you agree or not with that one. But are you going to be there on Wednesday? Are you watching it from home?
Mate, no, watch it from home. It's just I'm trying to save a bit of money.
Terror, isn't it?
Trying to save a bit of money. Still working as well, so it's just it's a long way to go to get beat. So
yeah, trying to save up for the Vegas trip. Yeah,
exactly, mate.
Listen, what a preview that was. Thanks so much, Matt. Top man, good mate of mine. He's going for a Liverpool win, just. I think I'm going for a Liverpool win, just. But we could both easily be wrong. So make sure you're watching the Kop TV on Wednesday night. We'll be there. Of course, we will be there with the fan cams from outside a very cold Anfield, I imagine. But listen, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it, as always. No problem, we're going to do a preview over on the Talking Wolves channel now. So make sure I'll tag the channel Talking Wolves in the bio and go and watch that. But until next time, take care, and we'll see you soon. All the best.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
Please, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Kop TV.
The voice of football's most